the false miracles in exchange for a single drop of your blood. Too many seem to think that good intentions excuse away harmful outcomes. But whether you like it or not, what you build and what you create define who you are. It feels a bit crazy that anyone should have to say this. But if you've built a chaos factory, you can't dodge responsibility for the chaos. Taking responsibility means having the courage to think things through. Learn from these mistakes. If you want to take credit, first, learn to take responsibility. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, I know you will be ambitious. You wouldn't be here today if you weren't. Match that ambition with humility, a humility of purpose. That doesn't mean being tamer, being smaller, being less in what you do. It's the opposite. It's about serving something greater. The author Madeleine L'Engle wrote, "Humility is throwing oneself away in complete concentration on something or someone else." In other words, whatever you do with your life, be a builder. You don't have to start from scratch to build something monumental. And conversely, the best founders, the ones whose creations last and whose reputations grow rather than shrink with passing time, they spend most of their time building piece by piece. Builders are comfortable in the belief that their life's work will one day be bigger than them, bigger than any one person. They're mindful that its effects will span generations. That's not an accident. In a way, it's the whole point. In a few days, we will mark the 50th anniversary of the riots at Stonewall. When the patrons of the Stonewall Inn showed up that night, people of all races, gay and transgender, young and old, they had no idea what history had in store for them. It would have seemed foolish to dream it. When the door was busted open by police, it was not the knock of opportunity or the call of destiny. It was just another instance of the world telling them that they ought to feel worthless for being different. But the group gathered there felt something strengthen in them, a conviction that they deserved something better than the shadows and better than oblivion. And that if it wasn't going to be given, then they were going to have to build it themselves. I was 8 years old and 1,000 miles away when Stonewall happened. There were no news alerts, no way for photos to go viral, no mechanism for a kid on the Gulf Coast to hear these unlikely heroes tell their stories. Greenwich Village may as well have been a different planet, though I can tell you that the slurs and hatreds were the same. What I would not know for a long time was what I owed to a group of people I never knew in a place I'd never been. Yet I will never stop being grateful for what they had the courage to build. Graduates, being a builder is about believing that you cannot possibly be the greatest cause on this earth because you aren't built to last. It's about making peace with the fact that you won't be here for the end of the story. That brings me to my last bit of advice. 14 years ago, Steve stood on this stage and told your predecessors, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Here's my corollary. Your mentors may leave you prepared, but they can't leave you ready. When Steve got sick, I had hardwired my thinking to the belief that he would get better. I not only thought he would hold on, I was convinced down to my core that he'd still be guiding Apple long after I, myself, was gone. Then one day, he called me over to his house and told me that it wasn't going to be that way. Even then, I was convinced he would stay on as chairman, that he would step back from the day-to-day but always be there as a sounding board. But there was no reason to believe that. I never should have thought it. The facts were all there. And when he was gone, truly gone, I learned the real, visceral difference between preparation and readiness. It was the loneliest I've ever felt in my life, by an order of magnitude. It was one of those moments where you can be surrounded by people, yet you don't really see, hear, or feel them. But I could sense their expectations. When the dust settled, all I knew was that I was going to have to be the best version of myself that I could be. I knew that if you got out of bed every morning and set your watch by what other people expect or demand, it'd drive you crazy. So what was true then is true now. Don't waste your time living someone else's life. Don't try to emulate the people who came before you to the exclusion of everything else, contorting into a shape that doesn't fit. It takes too much mental effort that should be dedicated to creating and building. You'll waste precious time trying to rewire your every thought, and in the meantime, you won't be fooling anybody. Graduates, the fact is, when your time comes, and it will, you'll never be ready. But you're not supposed to be. Find the hope in the unexpected. Find the courage in the challenge. Find your vision on the solitary road. Don't get distracted. There are too many people who want credit without responsibility. Too many who show up for the ribbon cutting without building anything worth a damn. Be different. Leave something worthy. And always remember that you can't take it with you. You're going to have to pass it on. Now, if you're anything like I was on graduation day, maybe you're not feeling so fearless. Maybe you're thinking about the job you hope to get, or wondering where you're going to live, or how to repay that student loan. These, I know, are real concerns. I had them too. But don't let those worries stop you from making a difference. Fearlessness means taking the first step, even if you don't know where it will take you. It means being driven by a higher purpose rather than by applause. If you step up without fear of failure, if you talk and listen to each other without fear of rejection, if you act with decency and kindness even when no one is looking, even if it seems small or inconsequential, trust me, the rest will fall into place.